Bobcat Nation. Al Weston here, Sports Information Director for Georgia College. Once again, it's time to talk with Stephen Cary of the men's cross country and women's cross country teams here at Georgia College. Stephen, thanks again for being with us, buddy.
Thank you for letting me.
Okay, so we had a big weekend. We split the two teams and split the coaches and split everybody up. You went over to Macon. The ladies went over to Aiken. Let's start with that Macon race, the Run Fit Invitational there, sponsored by Mercer. And how did you feel about the ways the guys ran there?
I was very, very pleased with how it went. I think Rich and I both were. Probably one of the best teams, arguably one of the best teams that Georgia College has ever produced on the men's side. We had two guys under 27 minutes, which is pretty solid. It's definitely sub 5:30 pace per mile, which is really, really good. We had four guys under 28 minutes, so just really looking good. The guys are really starting to come into form, especially this early on in the season. It really bodes well for conference and regionals. Really looking good. We just got to focus on that fifth guy. I think Saturday, our fifth guy was 28 minutes. So definitely an improvement from our home meet and also in LA. So
cool. All right. Well, I mean, the guys, the way they finished, I believe it was Maddox up front and Daniel Horseman after him, Colin Conroy. That's been your top three pretty regular between those three guys, sometimes flip-flopping between Daniel and Tyler, but after that is the area that we need to focus on now. Apparently, is trying to find those 4 and 5 regulars that are going to be your regular guys. I know Phil Lasky's been in there a bunch, as well as Rob Manning. How have those guys been running? What do you think we're going to get out of them?
They've been running pretty well. We've had a lot of guys really tired lately, just fatigued. I think this the midterms.
You're working them too hard, Stephen. Is that what it is?
We're trying not to, but I mean, there's not much we can do. It's just that time of the year, and. We have an injury inside our top 5 right now that could potentially shape conference and region. It could affect it a lot. So right now we're just trying to keep the guys healthy. We're just trying to keep them going, trying to let the work sink in a little bit.
Sure.
Racing well. But yeah, the fourth and the fifth guys, definitely we've got to see some improvement there to have a shot at coming top 4, top 3 in the region, or not, excuse me, in the conference, and top 5 in the region.
Yep, and you know your team is only as good as those bottom 2 guys, but
yes,
the points they displace, of course.
The top 5 score, so we've got to have those top two guys run well, and then the third guy come along as well. But the fourth and the fifth runner is just what can make them break you. So
sure. Well, let's switch gears to the women's side. I know you didn't make the trip up to Aiken because you were busy out there in the West, and of course, the women they got a conference tournament preview basically in essence there. I mean, they ran the 6K distance I believe for the first time in this year.
Yes, sir. They
did. And went up against a largely conference field. There was a couple other teams sprinkled in there, but got I believe another 4th place finish for those guys, and
yes,
it looks pretty solid as they're shaping up for the conference season as well.
It does. I think they got a little bit of a shocker on Saturday. The course was a little sandier than we had planned, but our girls are going to be ready to run no matter what. Allison looked good, Allison Loans, and the rest of our top 5 looked really well, with Rebecca Shane coming in second on the team. Bodes well for conference and region, definitely. We're going to be solid. I have no doubts about that, and we're training them to peak, the end of October and the beginning of November. So I'm not sure what the other teams are doing, but our training is coming along very nicely. Like I said, they're tired just like the guys are right now, but that's what we want. I mean, we want them to be tired at this point.
So you did get Allison Loans up front. The second finisher, a little bit of a surprise to me anyway. You get your freshman in there, Rebecca Shane, for the first time.
I think she's going to be suited for the longer distances. I think the 5K, she's been improving week by week, but with the 6K, I mean, that definitely showed she has the endurance that some of the other girls might not have. So she's going to be better, I think, in the 6K anyway.
Now, to my knowledge, Stephen, in high school, they run 5Ks.
They run 5Ks.
So this is the first time Rebecca Shane's running a 6K distance in competition, and she finishes second
on
the team. Again, a little bit of a surprise and a good forecast of what could potentially be in her future. Huh?
We've got Rebecca Shane, but also another freshman, Katie Tinker. She's coming along as well. She was 6th on the team.
And she was battling injuries, I think, earlier in the year.
She
kind
was.
of sort of getting up to full speed, pun intended, here right now.
Yes,
right?
sir. She missed the first 2 weeks of practice just from a hip stress reaction. So, yeah, she's coming along nicely. And then you have our seniors, Carissa Ekstrom and Victoria Dobson. I mean, they're definitely leading the team on and off the course and finishing in the top 5, and that's what we got to have them do.
Yep, it's good to see Vicky get up in there in that top 3 as well. She missed the whole season last year with that illness that she suffered in the very first race, and to see her get back in the mix here in her last season as well is pretty important for us, I imagine.
Oh, it's very important, very important.
Talk to me real briefly, if you can, about coaching cross country. How do you do it? You know, I mean, this is such a unique sport in that there's no subs. You can't go in there halftime and fire them up. How do you get it done, Steve?
Well, you kind of have to you have to be competent in your training and in our training methods. I think Rich has a really good training method, and definitely, I mean, we focus more on quality more than quantity, whereas some other teams focus on the volume of their workload. We focus more on quality and threshold running, trying to increase that threshold, trying to get them so that they can race faster with the least amount of work possible. Just because, I mean, when you increase the workload, you increase the risk of injury as well. So, but as far as race day coaching, Al, it really is just give them the best advice you possibly can. But they're runners; they've been running for a long time. Most of them ran in high school. For Vic and Carissa, they've been running for 3 years now. This is their 4th year in college. They know what they're supposed to do. They warm up, race the best they can, and then they get a good cool down in afterwards. It's not much coaching involved on the day of the race.
Sure. Okay. Well, headed to the Codfish Bowl this weekend up in Boston, Massachusetts. Another long trip for the cross-country program. We're going to have some blogging elements actually on both Facebook and at gcbobcats.com. You can follow the teams up there with the different stuff they're doing culturally and everything in the Boston area, the hometown of head coach Joe Samproni as well. So stay tuned to Facebook and gcbobcats.com for more information there. And for Stephen Cary, it's Al Weston here for the Bobcat Coach's Corner.